Hello everyone, welcome to the 100. In today's show, we are going to talk about one of the most important organizations in the world, the World Trade Organization. As you may know, it was founded in January 1st, 1995, and it is one of the most important institutions in the world. It not only regulates world trade, but it also ensures that international trade law is applied correctly and fairly among its members. One of the mechanisms that the World Trade Organization uses to ensure that fair trade is applicable between its members is its dispute settlement system. The dispute settlement system can be used in two ways. The first is to find a mutually agreed solution between the members that are in the dispute, and this can be made through consultations and negotiations. And the second way is through adjudication, which includes the subsequent implementation of the panel of an appellate body, which can happen if the member that lost the dispute isn't comfortable with what the panel decide. And the process in general has three main stages. The first is consultation between the members, which can end there if they find a mutually agreed solution that I explained already. And there is also adjudication by panels and, if applicable, the appellate body. And the third step and final step is the implementation of the ruling, which includes the possibility of countermeasures in the event of failure by the losing party to implement the ruling. That is a quote of the World Trade Organization page. And this is very important because it means that the dispute settlement system is really fair. It ensures that big or small countries can participate and resolve any misunderstandings they may have, or speak out if they do not feel comfortable with what has been happening inside the organization, or how world trade has been providing benefits or disadvantages for them. And it's also important because it guarantees that the system is effective. The fact that there is countermeasures in the effect where the rulings are not respected is important. It means that they need to respect the decisions in order to maintain the order in the international system. An example in which the dispute settlement system has been used is the countervailing measures on superconductor paper from Canada. In 2015, the Obama administration imposed tariffs on superconductor paper produced by Port Hawkesbury Paper Limited Partnership and Irving Paper Limited, two companies from Canada, and Canada claims that the measures were inconsistent with certain articles of the World Trade Organization. It requested consultations on March 30, 2016, because they didn't agree on the duties imposed, which were really affecting its industries because it once reached even 18.85%, which were very high numbers considering that the paper industry has been decreasing in consumer demand, and it is a very sensitive industry overall. And well, basically the United States government say that the Canadian government has subsidized a bankrupt paper mill, which resulted in subsidized export and injury to the U.S. industry, which the Canadian government didn't really agree. Some recent developments include that Canada requested the establishment of the panel in July 31st, 2016. The third parties were Brazil, China, the European Union, India, Japan, Korea, Mexico, and Turkey. And this is very important because the fact that an American company started to look for a compromise and dispute and seems to be willing to end the dispute, seems to respond to the NAFTA negotiations, which have been really slow, according to Simpson in 2018. The fact that these disputes could end means that Canadian producers will receive $42 million as compensation, and the fact that Mexico is a third party is also could help NAFTA negotiations to accelerate, because if they become allies with Canada, it means that the NAFTA negotiations could finally end in favor of these two countries instead of the United States, which seems really against most of the changes, or seems to be, rather it seems to be really wanting to make certain changes that Canada and Mexico seem to find hard to accept.
The former European colonies could import their bananas to the European Union free of duty, while the rest of the world had to face import tariffs. And the USA, as well as some Latin American countries, considered this as unfair and against regulations and rules of the WTO and the GATT regulations, so they claimed against it, and they brought it to the WTO panel and the GATT panel. It took them several rounds to come to a conclusion that the European Union had to change the regulations, and so everyone was treated fairly and could import bananas in the same way without any tariffs under same regulations. And
for case DS-182 Ecuador provisional anti-dumping measure on the cement from Mexico. The complainee was Ecuador. The case started on October 5th of 1999. Everything began in the 14th of July of the same year when Ecuador imposed anti-dumping measures against Portland cement coming from Mexico. Mexico complained about this to the dispute settlement system of the WTO with two main arguments. The argument A, it was that it was incompatible with Articles 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 12, and 18, Annex 2 of the Anti-Dumping Agreement, and also with Article 4 of the General Agreement on Tariffs and Trade. The second argument was that these measures nullified or impaired benefits accruing to Mexico under GATT 1994. To this case, there was a corrigendum. The name changed from definitive measures to provisional measures, since the anti-dumping measures that Ecuador implemented were just temporal and not definitive. And the dispute settlement current status, it's in consultations. It hasn't been closed since 1999. There was no panel agreed, no mutual agreement between both parties, Mexico and Ecuador, and the complaint is still active from Mexico's part.
But as a presented solution, Mexico can perform the following steps. First of all, Mexico can make inquiries, then establish a special group at the second meeting. On the third part, it can create a mandate or composition of the situation. For the fourth part, can make an examination by the panel that is conducted to assess the situation, where the chapters are sent to the parties for comments, and then the panel generates a solution or in a report. And if the report is adopted, it will be checked, and then if everything goes legally right, it goes applied.
Another example is the anti-dumping investigation of high fructose corn syrup, in which the United States acted as a complainant and Mexico as a respondent, as well as Jamaica, Mauritius, and the European Union as third parties, as they have important interests in the case. On May 8, 1998, basically, the U.S. requested consultations with Mexico in respect of an anti-dumping investigation that it had been found that there was happening of high fructose corn syrup grades 48 and 55 from the United States conducted by the Mexican country. Basically, Mexico argued that as a result of the investigation, it was determined that dumping and injury had been found, and as a consequence, the Mexican government imposed definite anti-dumping measures to these imports of the United States, which has caused a lot of damage. It has caused anger among the population, and it has provoked that even terrorist organizations had to speak out, because corn syrup is definitely an important product, as it is a substitute of sugar, and many find more health benefits in it. So it's definitely an important case to think about.
Well, and as a conclusion, the WTO dispute settlement process is a mechanism that ensures the longevity of the organization, and what it means, a neoliberal order characterized by multilateral trade relations between nations who cooperate to achieve benefits. And the proceedings guarantees, safeguards, measures for all members and protect their interest and prevents other from taking unfair advantages. Thank you.